My name is Rob Samuelak, and this is my wife Rachel, and we're here at Roger Neilson House to share the story of our son, Aaron Samuelak.
Our lives were changed forever on Thursday, February 18th, 2016. What started out as a normal, uncomplicated pregnancy crumbled to pieces during our routine 19-week ultrasound. The ultrasound was supposed to last for 20 minutes, but it took an hour. The ultrasound technician was writing question marks on the screen. When Rob asked her questions, she wasn't able to tell us what was happening, but she told us that we would need to attend a follow-up ultrasound in 2 weeks. After a miscarriage at 10 weeks with our first pregnancy and a healthy, happy son named Gabriel, born in 2014, this wasn't what we were expecting. We were expecting that by the end of this pregnancy, we would be bringing home a healthy baby. That afternoon, I received a call at work from our midwife. The radiologist had not been able to see kidneys or a stomach, and the amniotic fluid was very low. They scheduled us for a follow-up appointment at the high-risk unit at the hospital for the next Monday.
That weekend, Rachel started having contractions, and she thought she had a little bit of fluid loss. So we went to the hospital. We went up to the labor and delivery department, but we were turned away because Rachel was less than 20 weeks. So we went down to the emergency. We were triaged. After 4 hours there, we decided to go home so that Rachel could rest in case she was going to give birth.
On Monday, February 22nd, 2016, we went for our follow-up ultrasound at the high-risk unit at the hospital. We could see our son's beautiful profile. He had his hand up in the air like he was waving at us, and we could hear his strong heartbeat.
Following the ultrasound, we were directed to a meeting room where a doctor explained to us that Aaron was not compatible with life. He had bilateral renal angiogenesis, which means that he had no kidneys. Aaron's amniotic fluid level was extremely low. His lungs would not be able to develop correctly. Otherwise, he was perfect and he was going right on track. However, there was one other complication. The placenta was covering the opening of Rachel's uterus. If we continued with the pregnancy, Rachel would have to give birth via cesarean section. The doctor told us that most families decide to end the pregnancy at this stage as it is easier and possibly safer.
After hearing Aaron's strong heartbeat and feeling him move constantly, I told the doctor no, we wanted to continue with the pregnancy, and we received a referral to the Roger Neilson House Perinatal Hospice program. We received amazing support from the palliative care team at Roger Neilson House. The doctor and the nurses helped us create a specialized birth plan for Aaron that covered scenarios for a C-section birth and for a vaginal birth. They also provided individual counseling with a social worker and checked in with us before every appointment we had at the hospital. They helped us prepare for Aaron's birth and death at the same time. Our older son Gabriel loved being an older brother. He would constantly touch my stomach, he would feel the baby moving, and he would give the baby kisses. When he jumped too hard on my stomach, Aaron would give him a big kick and say, "Hey, get off of me." It was amazing and it was wonderful and it was hard all at the same time, knowing that we had this little brother for our older son, but that he wouldn't be coming home with us.
So I'm Carol Chevalier, and I am a social worker at Roger Neilson House and with the CHIO palliative care team. I've been working at this program for about 6 years now. One of the responsibilities that I have is to run the bereavement program. Part of the bereavement program is we offer therapeutic support groups. The support groups are available to any person in Ottawa who has lost a child. And originally, we had all different losses combined in one group. We wanted our group to be a non-judgmental space where everybody could be included. However, I was finding that families who had experienced a perinatal loss were dropping out of the group at a higher frequency than other families. And I did not believe that was because they were not experiencing a high level of trauma and a high level of grief. So I wanted to take a closer look at how we could better meet the needs of these families and provide a space that truly could be a therapeutic environment for them. So I embarked on a research project through my master's studies and came to learn that indeed families who have experienced a perinatal loss have experienced a high degree of trauma, are at great risk of experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder, and really do need a space where they can talk about the life that they have not lived with their child. The perinatal loss group is available to families who have experienced either a stillbirth or a neonatal death over 20 weeks gestational age and up to the first 28 days of life. Since starting the group in 2014, we have been at full capacity. We run a group every season. Last fall we had to run 2 groups simultaneously because there was such a demand for this service. And families come back to us and they tell us how meaningful the experience is, how much they get out of it. Many of our families also continue to meet on in the community after their group has concluded and continue to support one another. We've found it's been very beneficial.
At 27 weeks, a small miracle happened. We went for our doctor's appointment and ultrasound, and the doctor came in and told us that she thought that the placenta might have moved. For us, this was great news. It meant that we could possibly have a vaginal delivery. We wanted to have a vaginal delivery instead of a C-section because it meant that our time together as a family wouldn't have doctors and nurses scurrying around and people trying to stitch me up as we were meeting our baby for the first time. At 32 weeks, we went for another appointment, which would confirm that the placenta had moved. However, the doctor that we saw at this appointment wasn't willing to work with our vaginal breech birth plan. He told us that if we wanted to continue with the breech birth, we may as well have terminated. Rob and I were very upset and couldn't believe that he said this after we had decided to carry this baby so far and we had already reached 32 weeks. Aaron was growing right on track, and we knew that this vaginal delivery would give us more time together as a family. That afternoon, the social worker from Roger Neilson House called to check in to see how our appointment went. Rob told her what had happened, and she was amazing. She contacted the doctor at Roger Neilson House, and the doctor contacted the lead obstetrician at the hospital about our case and advocated for the breech birth plan. Our midwife also advocated for our breech birth plan and wrote a letter to the hospital. When we went to our follow-up appointment, we saw the lead obstetrician, and she, remarkably, agreed to our plan and said that it wasn't a problem. She gave us the necessary referral to an obstetrician who would be willing to do a breech birth.
Through all of this time, the team at Roger Neilson House came to all of our follow-up appointments to make sure that we were supported. I was doing my maternity clinical placement in my nursing degree at the mother-baby unit at the same hospital.
Thankfully, by the start of June, we could be together as a family as I was finished work and Rob had finally finished his placement in the mother-baby unit. We took Gabriel out of daycare and we enjoyed the 3 weeks that we had together as our small family. We went hiking, we went paddling, we ate lots of ice cream, and it was just amazing to have this time together. Aaron was a very active baby. He loved or hated spicy food. Rob and I ate a lot of jalapeno poppers while I was pregnant and they were delicious. He loved music and would move constantly while Rob would play the piano at night. He experienced the full experience of being a sibling in our family.
Hi, my name is Lynn. I'm the advanced practice nurse practitioner at CHIO Palliative Care Program as well as Roger Neilson House. I am here to speak to you about Perinatal Hospice, and it is a program that is very near and dear to my heart. The first time that really our program was initiated to Perinatal Hospice was in 2007 when we received a referral for an infant who had been diagnosed in utero with a life-limiting illness but had not been referred to the program until day 2 of life. We cared for this family ongoingly for a number of months till she died at Roger Neilson House, surrounded by her family. And what I remember most about this family was a quote that Mom mentioned that said that she only wished that she could have been referred to the program sooner because she felt that we would have been such a support to her. So with that in mind, I want to say that perinatal hospice is best offered early on, as soon as a diagnosis is made of a life-limiting illness. The importance of that is that a relationship is formed with a family over time, over many meetings, over many tears, us learning about them and them learning about us. It offers time for a special plan, a birth plan to be devised that receives input from both families and the team, that really identifies how a family wants their pregnancy, their delivery, and then the postpartum period to go. It highlights care for mom, care for baby, how those few minutes or days or weeks want to be had. Do you want to hold your baby? Do you want to sing songs? Do you want the siblings to meet the baby? It's a time sensitive and time consuming program, but the benefits are immeasurable. Since 2007, in the last 10 years that we've been offering perinatal hospice, we have received another 54 referrals for perinatal hospice. We know there are many more families who could benefit from this service and support, and we also know we have a lot of work to do in educating and sensitizing and advocating all of those individuals who provide obstetrical care, delivery room care, postpartum care. We need to let them know of the benefits of this program, and I think over time many families have become our advocates. We need to meet their needs just like we need to meet the needs of other children in our community and in our care. I'm confident that with the support of families and teams and ministry support that we will in time get more referrals, and that we will be helping more families learn to deal with the really horrible situation that is the expected loss of a much wanted pregnancy. And I'm really privileged to be able to be part of this team and to offer this amazing service, and I thank you very much for this opportunity to speak about it.
On Father's Day, June 19th, 2016, Aaron decided that he was going to come 4 weeks early. He came fast. We barely made it to the hospital in time. Our doula dropped us off at the door, and the timestamp on our parking pass said 9:10. Aaron was born at 9:29. We went storming into triage. I didn't shout. I said to the triage nurses all the medical jargon about what Rachel's pregnancy was, and the nurses said, "There's a woman in distress," and quickly found us a room. The nurses started prepping IVs and getting all ready to have a surgical C-section, to which I said, "No, we're doing this vaginally." This took them a little bit by surprise, as I don't think they get such straightforwardness out of their patients very often. Our midwife arrived shortly afterwards, as did the team from Roger Neilson House. Rachel delivered Aaron without an epidural and only had a little bit of nitrous oxide, also known as laughing gas.
Aaron did not let out a big cry when he was born, and Rob prayed for him to breathe. We both wanted to meet our son alive because we had gotten so far to this point. We looked at him, and he was breathing. There were little breaths, but it was amazing. We were able to hold him and cuddle him and just enjoy the time that we had together as a family.
His Nana, Papa, and older brother Gabriel got to meet him. Gabriel got to go and say "baby" and poked him in the eye. He got to say "nose" and he poked him in the nose.
He was able to meet my parents and his aunts and uncles via webcam because they weren't able to be in Ottawa. Aaron was beautiful. He didn't appear to be in any distress except when a camera flashed, because we took as many photos and videos as we could in the short time that we had with him. It was hard and it was beautiful, but it was wonderful. Our family was together just for a moment in time. He passed away in our arms, surrounded by love. When we thought that he was gone, our doula turned on some music, which we knew that he loved, and he stayed with us for another 20 minutes. It was the most peaceful and sad and happy day of my life. We met this baby who we fought for, who we wanted, and who we loved. It was beautiful. I would not trade the 100 minutes that we had with Aaron for anything. After he passed away, we received amazing support from our families, our friends, our church community, and the team at Roger Neilson House. We joined the Perinatal Loss Bereavement Support Group, and it was an amazing way for us to connect with other parents who had also lost babies at or before birth.
If you asked whether or not we would do it again, we would both say yes. All the battles that we fought were worth it. It would have been logistically easier to end the pregnancy early, but that was not the decision for us. Aaron will not be forgotten.